Well, Robert, it's FA Cup final week. How are you feeling ahead of this weekend?
A mixture of a little bit of, you can feel that something is going on, right? But also a lot of good feelings. I'm really much looking forward to this game, and you can tell the squad this week has been brilliant because they just train so well, and everybody's actually looking forward to this game. When
you arrived at the start of the season, did you think that there was a possibility of actually having an FA Cup run like this and making it to a final?
I mean, you always believe in something, and I knew that if we're going to try to have a trophy this year, the league title will be the hardest one, and the Conti Cup will be the easiest one, and the FA Cup will be very hard to get. But after the first runs, when we came back in those games and we saw that, oh, it's one more step, then I started to dream a little bit more, actually. And hopefully now, when we are at the final, we can also go all the way.
You mentioned this season was supposed to be more of a transitional one, a starting point to grow from. Tell me how you think this season has actually gone as a whole.
I think we started very well with the journey in the league, how we play, the identity. We showed how we want to play attacking football, and we had a good game against Chelsea, but we lost, and then we won a few games. And then we had a few setbacks when we realized, okay, it's a lot of stuff we need to work on until we can beat the best teams in the league, right? And we got a few injuries as well. And then we find ways to beat Arsenal, and then I think that was the main key for us to understand that we can actually compete already now if we change some stuff in some games. So after Christmas, when we added in new players in the squad and everything, we knew that we can probably win every game if we change some stuff in some of the games, but still try to find a way to play our style. And that might affect us a little bit with the attacking football, but it also gave us some good results, and I think that's why we are here right now already now, that we actually compete, because we learn how to defend the box, how to press a little bit better, how to be more tight in the defense work, and now we're trying to make sure we keep going forward and to score more goals as well. So I think the mixture of this year has been great, and I think we are ahead of schedule because I didn't expect this.
I think you mentioned those slightly heavier defeats the end of last season to actually now, especially against Manchester City, you know, us beating them in the FA Cup. That must be a sign of actually how much we've improved.
Yeah, I mean, that's an evidence, right? And I think if you also looked at the big losses we had against Man City and Man United, you realize, like, we closed the gap, and then we actually closed the gap, and actually now we compete against them. And I think, of course, we still need to develop because we want to dictate games and win most of the games against them. So that's a big gap to keep going for. But now we know that we can compete, and I think that's building a self-confidence for everybody, and I think that helps us when we work every day really hard.
What were your thoughts or your emotions when you actually visited Wembley last week?
But I'm remembering, as like when I was a kid, that stadium was the biggest stadium I knew about, so that was my dream to get there someday. And this was the first time I was on the grass and looking up there and realizing, like, okay, I'm 41 now. I probably started dreaming when I was around 10, you know. It's like 31 years of hard work, and now we're going to be there, and I'm going to be there. It makes you proud, yeah.
Can you put into words what it would feel like to win this cup?
I think for me, it's like, I'm not so desperate to win stuff. I'm much more desperate to make sure that other people win and get the happiness. So I think for me, it's just to see other people, the fans, the players, the staff members, this club, to get a title. It's been a long time since they did that. So for me, it's more like, I want to win to look at everybody else and see that they're proud and happy.
This one's got to be one of the biggest moments in the women's club's history. You guided Häcken to consecutive Swedish Cup finals. A number of players currently have reached and won finals. How do you make sure the whole team remains focused, though, to make sure you do what you can to win?
I think everything we work on every day is to stay present. Everything we do is to make sure we have control of our performance. So whatever we try to get, you know, people who shout stuff, or people who complain about us, or if opponents score goals or whatever, we want to stay where we are and make sure we continue to work with the plan. And I think this year has been brilliant, because I think it's 9 games over total where we went down early and we came back to get a draw or a win, and that shows how good the players actually can handle to be present during the games. And I think that's a big step, because I can develop them to play good football or be better technically, but we also need to develop them to make sure they can handle the pressure and the big stage and everything. And that's one of the main things I'm proud of, how they actually handle the setbacks, how they handle the scenarios, and how they can still be so good. So that's why I think we're going to handle this game in a good way in the final as well.
We picked up a point against Manchester United away on the road in the league. Does that give you and the team any confidence ahead of this weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, we had a 4-0 loss before Christmas against them, a poor game. Now we had a quite good game, especially in the first half. We scored 2 beautiful goals. We were almost winning, so it was another evidence that we can compete against these teams. And it's also really good to go into this final with the feeling like it's going to be a tough game, but we know that if we do good stuff, we're going to create chances and we're going to score goals. So yeah, we can learn a lot from that game and also have self-confidence from that game.
And just how much have you enjoyed being head coach at Tottenham Hotspur Women this season?
You know what, I'm so happy with my job because that doesn't feel like I'm working. Every day I go to these facilities and I just meet people, and I think every time when I come home and my wife asks me about the days, it's like, then I realize like it's very unique to have this kind of environment, and for me to be in this journey and see the potential as well, it makes me very happy every day.
And what is your message to the fans?
I mean, they have done this with us. I must say that the quarterfinal, the semi-final, the Sheffield United game, I don't think we have turned these games around if they were not there and cheering us up, actually. So I think if they can be loud, if they can sing with us at this Wembley, if they can help us to the end, we're going to do this together, and hopefully we're going to win together and celebrate together.